Welcome everybody to The World is a Mess, and I just want to steampunk it. This is episode 86, February 24th, 2023. I am your host, Steampunk Star Raisin, and I am here in North Hollywood, California, USA. And I'm with my co-host, Daniel Bertizan. He is in Bellwood, Ontario, Canada. How's it going, Daniel?
I'm doing good. Just a little better.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you're doing better. You know what I just saw? I just saw Picard episode 2 of season 3, and I was completely blown away. It really surprised me. It almost put tears in my eyes. I mean, my goodness. I was like, after season 1 and 2 of Picard, I was like, God, this is season 3 is probably going to suck even more if they reunite all the next generation crew. Oh, spoiler alert ahead if you haven't seen Picard seasons 1 and 2, for those of you who are listening. But, they never did a proper send off of Next Generation because Star Trek Nemesis, which came out in 2002, uh, bombed at the box office, and it was the first Star Trek movie to actually lose money. So they, canceled the sequel to Nemesis that they were going to do.
Which
And
had Janeway in it and Kirk.
well, Janeway appeared in First Contact. She had a brief cameo as Admiral
Yeah, they were gonna
Janeway.
go to the Nexus. Janeway and Picard were gonna go to the Nexus and get Kirk. No, wait, no, wait. Cisco. And then they would have gotten Kirk. So they would have been everybody would have gotten together.
Yeah, and they were going to do a proper send off, but they never got to do that. And so this feels like a proper send off, and it's been getting rave reviews from a lot of Star Trek fans and reviewers. And I was like, I never thought, like, seasons 1 and 2 of Picard had Riker in it, but he was like a cameo appearance. He had a very minor role in season 1, and Guinan was portrayed. The actress just did not portray Guinan in a good fashion. Q appeared in season 2, but was done in a cheesy and non-rational way. It made no sense that he's just
Well, he
dying.
was he was dying because like there was like a war in the continuum, and I guess like
They
he got
never explained it. They never explained it. You could say that, but they never explained it. So yeah, season 2 made no sense that and then it would made no sense that I hated the character of Captain Rios anyway. It made no sense that Admiral Picard would even allow Rios to stay in the 21st century because that would affect the timeline. And apparently it did affect the timeline because he created a non-profit medical group in which one Beverly Crusher's starship is named after. I can't remember the
well,
name.
yeah, well, they were off the grid though. They were off the grid, so it didn't really
Apparently
affect.
not, because they had a starship named after his medical group, like
Oh
Beverly
yeah.
Crusher. Yeah, the ship that I watched a review where they talked about that. The ship that Beverly Crusher had. Okay, so in episode 1, you see the return of Riker. Like, Riker has a major role in episodes 1 and 2. And I like the relationship, that dynamic between Riker and Captain Picard, and seeing them in a stressful situation, in a critical situation again. Um, and you could tell that, Patrick Stewart and Jonathan Frakes, are friendly towards each other. They're familiar with each other. So that makes for really good acting because they've had decades of experience acting together. And so, yeah, it was beautiful to see Riker in action again and to see Picard in action. And, it's always good to see Seven of Nine. She's probably my favorite character from Voyager, and she's one of my favorite Star Trek characters as well. And so, um, that was beautiful. So you have, Beverly Crusher is distressed that she's getting attacked, and her ship is hiding in a nebula. And then there's this other, like, black insect like predator ship. They mentioned the name, but I can't remember the name. I'm really bad with remembering names of stuff. But so you have like in this mystery, like there's this young guy helping Beverly Crusher, and they're on a medical ship, and the medical ship is under attack, and Beverly Crusher has to fight off this attack as these aliens beam on her ship, and she is heavily bleeding and she barely survives. She has to go into like a cryostasis container just to survive. And it's up to her son, Jack Crusher, who we get introduced to, and the actor who plays Jack Crusher did a really good job. Basically, she says, trust no one. She sends an encrypted message to Picard's Starfleet communicator. And it was neat homage that like he had his old the communicator from the Enterprise D in storage, and it went off, and he got this encrypted message, and then he has to try to accommodate her ship. And what was the name of that captain that he tricked? You know what I'm talking about?
Not sure.
Well, it's not that important, but the captain, yeah, the actor who played the captain, I thought he was a really good job of playing a dickhead. He was this, buy the book Starfleet captain who didn't want to take any risk, and you can tell he didn't really like Picard and he didn't really like Riker. And he's the captain of the USS Titan. That was cool to see the USS Titan, and they referenced that Riker used to be the captain of this ship. So, but Riker is basically a Starfleet captain reservist at this time. He's semi-retired, but he does hold the rank of captain. He's still active duty. Picard is fully retired admiral. And so, it was neat to see that Seven of Nine was willing to go out of her way and risk her career because she's the
Oh yeah,
first
Captain Shaw. Captain Shaw.
Captain Shaw. And then you have Seven of Nine, who is the first officer. Whatever her last name is. Like I said,
Annika Hansen.
Annika Hansen. Okay, yeah. So first officer Hansen, our AKA Seven of Nine, is the first officer on the USS Titans. So this had been in the expanded universe novels of Star Trek. There was like a whole novel about Captain Riker on the Titan. So it was nice to see the ship that Captain Riker used to command.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see the USS Titan. So,
But it wasn't a gunboat. I thought the Titan was gonna be like one of those big, like warships, but instead it's like
a ship of exploration. It's a ship of exploration.
yeah, yeah.
So it has weapons, it has torpedoes, and it has phasers, but it's not a combat ship. But that's true with most Federation ships.
I mean,
But
I hope the Enterprise, the new Enterprise they show, I hope it'll be like an all-purpose ship.
yeah, they said it was a Neo Constitution class.
Yeah, a Neo
Neo
Constitution class.
Constitution class. But it looks like an ancestor of like the Galaxy class. It looks very similar. It looks like a mashup between like if you took a first generation Constitution class and crossed it with Galaxy class. But yeah, I actually like the design of the starships this season. Season 1 and 2, the starship designs were crappy. Like particularly season 1, like the Romulan ships look weird. They look like disembodied, you know, battleships floating through space, and the CGI was just so crudely done that the Romulan ships didn't even look like Romulan ships in season 1. But
Yeah, well, they were just starting out. They were just starting out. That's the
well,
problem
they
with it.
weren't starting out. They just Alex Kurtzman is an a-hole, and he has decades of next generation movies and episodes to go by, but he apparently doesn't really do his homework. But apparently Alex Kurtzman has responded to the criticism. They brought in new writers. I don't know who's writing.
Terry Metalis. He's one of
Okay,
them.
what's he? See, you're good with those names. That's why I need you as my co-host. So, what did Terry? I've heard that name before. What did he do? What did Terry McCall?
I think he was involved in Picard season 2. I think he was a writer on Picard season 2. Now he's a showrunner on Picard season 3.
Oh, okay. So you could tell there's a different showrunner, and they've actually done a good job. Like I was anticipating, I was like, oh my, I need to see episode 3 now because I want to know what happens. So now I'm on the edge of my seat. I never thought I would feel that because after the lackluster performance of seasons 1 and 2 of Picard, I was really pissed off at season 2, and I was really pissed off at season 1.
Mhm.
And you don't even, if you're a Next Generation fans, guys,
Mhm.
just watch Picard season 3 and skip what seasons 1 and 2 because continuity wise, this has nothing to do with seasons 1 and 2. I'm also glad that they did away with the murder doctor. I hated her character as well. So Raffi actually does a good job. You find out that she's undercover as a Section 31
I know she's Starfleet.
and she's
Starfleet intelligence.
she's a Starfleet intelligence officer and she's
Yeah.
undercover and she's trying to uncover this plot, this conspiracy to destroy Starfleet Academy, and that was a good subplot. And unfortunately, she's not able to prevent that, and then like 117 cadets get destroyed, and Starfleet Academy in San Francisco gets destroyed. So that was interesting. So there's this mystery, and I have a feeling that it's tied in with that Predator ship, that bounty hunter ship. Anyway, and then let me bring up one of my windows. But yeah, and so then episode 2, because episode 1 is like, okay, Picard has to trick the captain. What's the captain's name again?
Shaw.
Captain Shaw. He has to trick Captain Shaw into going all the way to the edge of Federation space to rescue Beverly Crusher. And then you get some hints with Jack Crusher of who he really is. And Jack Crusher definitely doesn't disappoint because spoiler alert, by season 2, you find out that Jack Crusher is actually Picard's son, which adds a whole new flair to this because Picard, in the past they complained about how he's never settled down, he never had family, and apparently he'd had a falling out with Beverly Crusher. They hadn't, because they had been romantic in the past, but they stopped dating each other in the past, and apparently they had a falling out to the point where she hadn't talked to him in like 20 years. So despite their falling out, because she's in danger, she knows that even though, despite their misgivings with each other, that Picard is one of the few people that she can trust. So apparently there's a conspiracy at Starfleet. And so I liked how like Raffi, you actually get to see a Ferengi. So she's like in the underworld and she comes across this Ferengi who has intelligence, and then she's lying about working for this Romulan officer. Are you still there? What's up?
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Let
No,
just
sorry about that. I'm here. I'm here now.
yeah. Let your mom or your parents know that you're doing a live stream. So
Yeah.
whatever they
Yeah.
say or do is going to be recorded.
Okay.
So it was nice. It felt like a proper Next Generation episode because you had the Ferengi, and so that Ferengi. Do you remember the name of the character, the Ferengi?
Yeah, Sneed. Sneed.
Sneeze. That's right, Sneeze.
No. Sneed.
Oh, Sneeze, like S.
No. Sneed. Sneed.
Oh, Sneed. So Sneed was a good character, although they ended up, spoiler alert, they ended up killing him off. And so she's lying about, working for this Romulan, and you find out that Sneed actually had the head of this decapitated Romulan. He's like, I know you're not working for this Romulan. And
Well,
he shows
I think he was an Orion. He was an Orion because he was green.
He's green. I thought there was a Romulan captain in there somewhere. Okay, well, he might have been an Orion. Yeah, you're right. That's right. Sorry, I misspoke. I need to watch the episode again because there's so many little details in there. But I'm gonna probably watch it again because it was that good. Or no, I'm definitely
No,
gonna
it
watch it
was
again.
the visuals. Let me tell you, the visuals in this episode was way better than the last one.
Yeah, yeah. So
Hey, have you seen
you
the
find you
Nebula?
find you find out that she's got the decapitated head of this guy, and Raffi lies and says that she's working for this guy, and he's like, I know you're lying because I got his head right here.
Yeah, I'm like,
And she
whoa.
also makes him do he also makes her do drugs to prove that she's not working in section 31. He's like, I smell Starfleet, I smell section 31. And
Like, yeah, what are
so
you,
and
Starfleet
and she
intelligence?
gets and she's desperately trying to find out who destroyed Starfleet Academy. And she's really putting it on the line. And she tries to contact her handler, and you find out that her handler um is telling her to disengage. And that was the interesting thing. That's the name of the episode. Episode 2 is called Disengage. Episode 1 is called The Next Generation, so which is a homage to Next Generation. And so you find out that her handler was actually Worf.
Yeah, he just appeared like she was
He
in
just
trouble, and
appears
all of
out of
this.
nowhere
He
with
just
like some
impales.
he
He
just
just impales
he
one of them.
impales like three people. He catches them off guard, impales all three of them, and he decapitates Sneed. So
Yeah.
I hate that he decapitated Sneed because I would have liked to have seen him as a reoccurring villain because he was so such a typical evil Ferengi. But yeah. So he comes in and rescues Raffi, and that's the cliffhanger. But before that, there's all with Riker and Picard, there's a cliffhanger because in 7 of 9, because you have this predator ship that looks like a black beetle. It looks like an elephant beetle. Like
It looked
anyway,
kind of creepy, like when you looked at it.
it's very creepy, and so you find out not only is Jack Crusher um the son of Beverly Crusher and Picard, he's also a wanted fugitive, and he has several bounties, or he's got a big bounty on his head because he's been smuggling medical supplies to other planets.
Like, did you hear the rumor that that was Jack Crusher was the clone of her dead husband? So she cloned her dead husband, and you're like, that's kind of weird if true. Like, why would she clone her dead husband and adopt him as a son? What is she really doing with him? You don't think she would sleep with a minor, do you?
Well, he's 20 years old because they said like I liked how Riker is like, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Because I think he's your son. I did the math, it lines up, so he would be about in his early 20s, like 20, 21 years old. They said he hadn't seen
Yeah, but
actually,
would
so he's
Picard?
actually the character's about 20 years old because he has Picard hasn't seen Beverly in 20 years.
So that means
And
so
they
that means
confirmed that that's actually his son. So that would make more sense than her cloning Jack or what was Daddy Crusher's name? I can't remember his name.
Jack Crusher.
Jack Crusher. Well, I mean, yeah, but you have the son named Jack Crusher, so I guess so that was interesting.
But it kind of looks like him. It kind of looks like the older Jack Crusher a little bit. That's what people. Oh, she
Well, maybe
cloned the dead husband.
that'll be another twist, but I hope not. I liked the dynamic better that Picard has this son that he didn't know about. I think that makes it more interesting. Anyway, so he's like, he tells the captain of the Titan, like, hey, that's my son. And the captain is like, hey, we need to give him up, so because I don't want to sacrifice Jack Crusher, who is a criminal, for the crew of my ship. And that makes sense. But then he realizes, after she hurls the other starship at him and it heavily damages the Titan, the captain realizes that even if they gave up Jack Crusher, there's a good chance that she would still destroy the ship anyway. So they have nothing to lose but to make a break for it and go. So he allows Picard to resume command of the Titan, which was pretty cool. And so they end up going into a nebula because their ship is heavily damaged. They're not able to escape it, and that's left on the cliffhanger. And then that, of course, at the last scene, it switches to Raffi, who nearly dies, and she's like high again, and she's relapsed because she's, for the sake of the mission, she's trying to find out who destroyed Starfleet Medical, and she's having to negotiate with these criminals of the underworld. And after Sneed gets killed, we find out, oh my God, Worf is freaking back. Worf is back. And I was like, God, this feels like Next Generation. They should have done this in season 1. Like season 1 was depressing, and then season 2 was just stupid. It made no sense.
Anyway. You got to admit, season 2 was way better than season 1.
Season 1 had a few good episodes. Season 2 was just mostly stupid. I liked the first episode in season 2 because it was nice to see Whoopi Goldberg reprise her role as Guinan. But I was really disappointed that they didn't bring her back. They had a younger actress portray her, and the younger actress didn't look or seem like Guinan at all. So, I mean, it was nice to see Q, back, but let's see. And I wonder, I guess there's not going to be any Soji. I mean, I didn't really care for the character of Soji anyway.
Me neither. Oh, she's with Wesley going through time.
That's right. That's right. They wrote her off as well. And I thought they, because like Rios, Soji, and the murder doctor, Dr. Girardi. I hated Dr. Girardi. Like, why would she even be allowed to stay at Starfleet Medical, considering she murdered people in cold blood? So,
well, I don't know. Maybe she was.
Now she's a Borg, so they wrote her off as well. So,
yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I liked the character of Captain Shaw, even though he's an asshole. And I liked seeing the Titan. I like seeing Riker working with Picard to rescue Beverly Crusher. I love seeing Worf. Man, I can't bring, like, apparently the rumor is that they're also Brent Spiner is going to return playing a composite character. And what do I mean by that? He's going to be part B4, part lore, and part data. How is that possible? Apparently, the rumor I heard is they're going to bring the lore out of storage, but lore is badly damaged because, like, he's missing the emotion chip and all that. And so they use spare parts from lore and maybe some of lore's memory banks to restore lore. And so you end up with a version of lore with Data's memories, because V4 had Data's memories downloaded, but apparently his positronic network wasn't as well developed and couldn't handle all of Data's information. And so you basically will get a version, like a hybrid version of Data lore. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I just hope it'll be a cooler version, like something more modern.
Well, and then I don't know how they're going to explain it, but apparently, because I saw a trailer, apparently Lore has got flesh-colored skin for some reason.
Yeah.
And he's got white hair. So we'll find out, but that's the rumor I heard, is he's going to be a composite character. He's going to be part lore, he's going to be part data because he's got Data's memories, and then he's going to be part B4. So maybe like a slightly less evil version of lore. So maybe we'll get the proper send off with the entire Next Generation cast, and the proper send off to Data, instead of, I'm Data and I want to commit suicide and rot to death on the couch. That was really lame and depressing,
Hmm.
and seemed uncharacteristic of Data that want to commit suicide like that. So, and I thought it was very disrespectful to the fan base. It was almost insulting. So, yeah, this Next Generation is back. It feels wonderful. I'm so excited. So, you agree with any difference of opinion with what I was saying?
No, I agree. I agree. Hey, do you think a lot of people say Worf is Section 31? I don't think he's Section 31.
No, he is. They actually confirmed that because you find out that he's her handler. Because remember her hand, she got mad at her handler.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
so
he
she
said,
is.
"Okay, did you not pay attention to the details? Okay, you're better with names, but I'm better with like the details."
Yeah,
Okay, the whole reason why episode 2 is called Disengage is Raffi is trying to find out who stole these weapons and these Federation weapons, and then they end up using the weapons on Starfleet Academy. They have like some kind of transporter weapon that like blows up the base of the building and then beams it up at a higher altitude, and then it crashes down, killing 117 Starfleet cadets. And then she's angry because she feels betrayed by her handler, and she's never met her handler. She's communicating with him via text message, and she's like, he goes, I demand a face-to-face meeting. And her handler says no. And he tells her to disengage. He's
yeah,
disengage. Okay.
yeah.
Then the last sentence, Lorf only has like one line of dialogue. And he comes in. How did he know Raffi was there? Because he was her handler. And so he comes in and he rescues her and he kills all of Sneed's henchmen, and then he decapitates Sneed and kills Sneed. And he picks up Raffi and he's like, I told you to disengage. So
Yeah, but
Worf was her handler because
yeah.
he told her to disengage. Worf is Section 31.
Are you
He's
sure
her.
she's not? Are you sure he's not Starfleet intelligence?
That's what Section 31 is. That's Starfleet intelligence.
Oh, I thought they were separate entities. Okay.
Starfleet intelligence is Section 31. That is
Oh,
Starfleet
oh,
intelligence.
thanks for clearing that up.
Okay. He said, I told you to disengage. And that's the last sentence when they leave it on a cliffhanger as he's
Yeah.
carrying
Then
her.
yeah. On the second time I watched it, I realized I was like, oh my God, Worf is the handler.
Yeah, he's the handler. That's why he knew he was there. That's why he knew her life was at jeopardy. And he was the one that was telling her to disengage. That was the whole point, the name of the episode, Disengage. So, we're down to the 10-minute warning. So, yeah, I mean, man, it was so exciting. I'm so excited. But
Yeah.
then it's gonna make me sad. I really wish they would have done this type of atmosphere with Picard in
Yeah.
season
Also,
one,
you know what?
and because we're only gonna get one more season of Picard. So, but yeah, Star Trek is back. Star Trek is back. I never thought I would have said that. Like season 1 and 2 felt like a parallel universe version of Star Trek that was crappy and depressing. And of course, I didn't like the Jar Jar Abrams movies. Um, and I'm not a fan of the Kelvin timeline.
A lot of people say,
Strange New Worlds most of the time was mediocre to boring.
yeah.
Uh, and this is exciting. I mean, you can tell that they got a new writer. You can tell there's a big shift, and like the starship designs actually feel
Mhm.
like something out of Next Generation.
Yeah.
And I liked how it says early 21st century at the beginning of season 3 episode 1. So this is like maybe a couple years later, because I think season 1 of Picard was the late 24th century. It was like 2499, and this
Yeah.
is the year 2500.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
was cool to get a little bit further along in the timeline. So now we're in the early 25th century. uh I mean, I have never thought, like I said, it almost put tears in my eyes because I never thought that I would feel like I had watched a sequel to Next Generation. I never felt that, after being disillusioned with seasons 1 and 2, I never thought that I would, feel like Star Trek is back. But this actually feels like a sequel movie to Next Generation. This feels like the proper send off that we should have had with the Next Generation crew. We're gonna have to say goodbye to him eventually because Patrick Stewart's like 80 years old, and they're all getting up in age. But yeah, see. I love how on IMDb, okay. So Patrick Stewart, 48, 68. Or Jonathan Frakes is actually 70. He's 70 years old. But yeah, you have the charisma and the charm of Jonathan Frakes reprising his role as Captain Riker, and this time he has a substantial role. And Beverly Crusher has a substantial role, so does Worf, of course, Captain Picard. We're right into a proper action scene. It doesn't feel like a bunch of like the action scenes at the end of season 1, like the starship battles between the Romulans and the Federation. It just felt like an afterthought. And then, you had also those flower, synthetic being flower ships that were fighting the Romulans. It just felt like a bunch of really low quality CGI, and the ships looked like crap. And it was like, felt like, pew, 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 like somebody had done a childish, fan film, and they didn't really know what they were doing. But this actually felt like a proper battle because the Titan gets damaged. It's able to fire torpedoes and phasers at this other ship that's attacking it, and it has to hide in the nebula. And that feels more like what a real, if starships were real, if the battles, the ship to ship battles that you see in Picard season 3, the ships look better, the battles are better. It feels more realistic based on the logic that they've set up in that universe. But yeah, so man, this is it's long overdue, and it's going to make me sad because we're not going to have a Picard season 4. Apparently, this is the last season. But with Picard, being with Patrick Stewart being in his 80s, and then most of the other cast being in their late 60s, early 70s, we're going to have to say goodbye to him eventually at some point. So this feels like the proper send off. I was actually surprised. The first 2 episodes of Picard, I would give an A-. Because the only gripe that I had, I mean, maybe we'll have some explanation, is in Picard season 3, episode 1, Beverly Crusher, she has her phaser rifle and she's fighting these aliens who try to, invade her starship. That, apparently it's got a bare bone crew. It's only her and her son. And there's one alien laying on the ground who she injured, and then she disintegrates him because she finishes him off. And I was like, God, that doesn't feel like a Starfleet officer, and it doesn't feel like Beverly Crusher, because Beverly Crusher, even if somebody was an enemy, she wouldn't kill somebody who was defenseless and unconscious. So it felt a little bit out of character for Beverly Crusher. Well, maybe we'll understand. Maybe these aliens are murderers and they're helping to run medical supplies. But I have a feeling that it's not just a simple bounty on Jack Crusher. There's something more deep into the conspiracy, and this Predator bounty hunter ship has something to do with the destruction of Starfleet Academy.
Yeah.
So
Also, you
there's a
know what?
mystery.
When they scanned the ship, they remember Jack said that he sent scanned photonic something photonic was on that ship. So there's
Yeah.
people are saying maybe Moriarty's on that ship and they're gonna transfer him off later on, and then this will get
Oh,
Moriarty.
that's right. Because in the trailer, Moriarty is supposed to return. So we haven't seen Laura yet. We haven't seen Geordie LaForge. Now it was interesting. I liked how on the Titan, uh, you have LaForge's daughter. She's a helmsman on the Titan, and so I thought that was a cool nod to the next generation.
Yeah, they gave her like a nickname, Crash LaForge, because she crashes everything and she's like a speed
Well,
demon.
she's young. She's young. She's an ensign. Ensign LaForge was awesome as well. Um,
And I think she's kind of. Do you think she's hot?
yeah, I think she's kind of hot. Do you find her kind of hot?
Yeah, I would like if she invited me. If she invited me into her room, I definitely go there for like a nightcap. If she invited me in bed.
Well, we got to wrap this up because I don't want to get cut off. I want to do my exit line because
Yeah,
a few minutes ago, I already got the 10-minute warning. I don't know if you got,
yeah,
when I get the 10-minute warning, do you get the 10-minute warning on your
yeah.
end?
I do. I do.
Okay. So we already got the 10-minute warning. If I don't cut this off properly, it's just going to abruptly stop. So this has been a special review of Picard season 3, episodes 1 and 2, Next Generation and Disengaged. Awesome start to a new season. Star Trek is back, guys. Anyway, thank you for joining me. This has been The World is a Mess, and I just want the steampunk at episode 86. You have a nice day, and I will see you 25 billion years. I will.
Bye.